Hello there, fellow travelers. It's Tim from Secret Fire Books, back with yet another book haul. And I know what you're thinking. How is Tim able to afford all these books? Well, there is a very simple explanation for that.
Because I have $30,000 in credit card debt.
All joking aside, a comic book shop near me was having this massive sale recently, 50% off all their merchandise. And they have a basement that is just jam-packed full of vintage paperbacks. And so I stopped by and picked up a few things today. They had quite a few books by authors that I was looking to get into, and even more by authors that I'm already into. And so I was super excited about that. I picked up a couple of Paul Anderson's. This first one is The Avatar by Paul Anderson, which has some awesome cover art. I love that. That action hero and his action girl with that big scary four-armed mutant-looking thing behind them. It's super cool. His big one, the long-awaited masterpiece by one of SF's all-time greats. Yeah, The Avatar. Super cool stuff. The next Paul Anderson was Orbit Unlimited, which, as you can see, is a classic, a striped edition of the Pyramid books. Jake from Pulp Mortem, I know you're watching this. Behold, the Pyramid paint stripe in all its glory.
It's awful.
It's all awful! It's all of it, and every single one of them sucks!
My copy's a little discolored and grimy around the edges, but it's a Paul Anderson, so I'm not going to turn down his books. Especially after reading High Crusade, which I loved. High Crusade was awesome. I can't stop thinking about that book. It's so good. And next, I picked up 3 Michael Moorcock books. The first one was The Land Leviathan. I don't know much about this book other than it is a science fiction novel by Michael Moorcock. I need to read more of his science fiction. It's a yellow-spined daw, which I need to collect more of. I love how these things look. The Land Leviathan. The next Moorcock was a book that I needed to complete a trilogy. This is Count Brass, the first book in the Chronicles of Castle Brass series. I have the other 2 books in the trilogy, but they don't have this livery. This is a Berkeley Fantasy edition. I really like that cover art. But at least I have all 3 of the books in the trilogy now. Cool stuff. And the last Michael Moorcock I picked up was The Winds of Limbo by Michael Moorcock, which also has some great cover art. Oh my goodness. Could the fire clown save the earth from its own greed, or was he bent on total destruction? I don't know, man. You tell me. Does that look like the destroyer of worlds to you? Demon of laughter, prophet of fire. Oh, man. Fun stuff. And the next book I picked up was by Fred Saberhagen, which I've never read any of his stuff before, but I have heard of this series of his, the Sword series. This is the first book in the Sword series, fittingly titled The First Book of Swords by Fred Saberhagen. And if I flip it over on the back, you can see we have an expanded version of the cover art, looking pretty cool. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Sword series, so I'll check it out sometime soon. I was actually really excited to pick up this next one. This is The Face in the Frost by John Bellairs. Now, this book appears on the Appendix N list for Dungeons & Dragons. So this might end up as an episode of Appendix N Adventures sometime in the future. I'm excited to read that. I'm actually working on the 3rd episode of Appendix N Adventures right now. I'm not going to say what the book is. I'm not going to spoil that. But it is in the works. So look forward to that. Next, I picked up a Roger Zelazny, This Immortal by Roger Zelazny, with another very cool cover. I like that a lot. Roger Zelazny's kind of hit or miss with me so far. I've only read 2 of his books, but yeah, a little hit or miss. I do like his writing style, but I think he kind of fails to pull off some of his bigger payoffs that he sets up. The next 3 books were all Robert E. Howard. First, I picked up, this is Conan by Robert E. Howard and L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter. This is an 80s reprint of one of the original Lancer paperback editions of Conan. Obviously now they were printed by Ace Books at this point, but the contents is the original Conan paperback from the Lancer series. And as you can see, we have this just epic, iconic, gorgeous painting by Frank Frazetta of Conan fighting Thak the Man-Ape. And same exact thing on the back. But yeah, super cool. The next Howard that I picked up was, this is a collection of Breckenridge Elkins stories. This is A Gent from Bear Creek by Robert E. Howard. With some more of that great 2-page spread Jeff Jones cover art. I've never read any of his Breckenridge Elkins stories. They're supposed to be, I think, these sort of comedic, satirical Western stories. And they're actually some of the last stories that Robert E. Howard wrote before he died. So I'm looking forward to reading those. And lastly, the last Robert E. Howard that I picked up was Skullface, with this great Ken Kelly cover. And, oh yeah, here it is. It also includes a full-color, fold-out poster of the same artwork. Oh my gosh, that is epic. Look at that. Oh, it's super cool. This is a collection of Robert E. Howard's horror stories, I believe. I'm already going to be reading his Cthulhu Mythos stories in the month of October, but looking forward to this one as well. So yeah, that's what I picked up recently. As always, let me know, guys, have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? And until next time, as always, farewell and keep reading.